Hey guys. So a couple days ago, I posted my video exposing my abusers and ex-cult leaders who are now at the ramp in Hamilton, Alabama, Mark and Leslie Dollar. Some of you may be viewing because you are from Russellville or you knew of them. Some of you may be viewing from the ramp. I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you so much for all the support. It has been crazy and amazing. Clearly, most of the people that the Dollars came across had a bad taste in their mouth after they met them. But I want to share something that's really important to my story in particular, why I'm here doing this. So I did live with the Dollars. I first started out on their ministry team before they started Adullam Youth Outreach, which was what they did in Russellville. It was like a youth live-in home thing, which that's a whole nother can of worms. I'll just not get into that right now. It did not take long for it to become very controlling and abusive. So at first I was a weekender or a part-time, and I would stay over there all the time, but I would also sometimes go home. But then at one point my family moved to Pottsville, and they did not like me going to a different school. And I have a screenshot of my Facebook post where I'm talking about how I needed to go back to Russellville to be in unity and sacrifice myself to be in unity. It's obsession over what you're doing, what you look like, what you wear, how you talk, what you're doing with your free time. It was super controlling. Also, they were making a crap ton of money off of having kids in their home because some of them they were claiming on their taxes, and then they were claiming expenses. So the more kids that they had, the more they could claim and the more they could get away with pocketing, allegedly. Also, I'm not scared because I've consulted with lawyers and you can intimidate me all you want, but I don't care, please. We have so much on you. Anyway, I was a part-timer, and then one summer, after they convinced me to move schools, it was getting deeper and deeper, more and more controlling, okay? There was a lot of abuse at this point, especially psychological abuse and everything that falls in that category. But also we were kids and we were being highly exploited. We constantly did things to make them money. So one summer they convinced me to move in because we were going to be ministering all summer and traveling. Well, we might as well just move in. It's going to be so much easier. And then you're not going to miss out on all the things that happen when you're gone, like the spontaneous Bible studies and worship sessions and the movie nights. Of course you don't want to miss out on this stuff. But they wanted me to live there. And so I moved in. And then guess what? At one point they tried to claim me on their taxes. They literally had me ask my parents, and my parents were claiming me. I found out now they did claim other people without asking. Also, Mark's deleted his Facebook as of now. Not surprised, that's kind of his MO, but I don't know. That doesn't look good for you. Leslie's too narcissistic to ever do that, So anyway, yeah, I moved in, and then at one point I was like, okay, I really don't want to live here. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking, but obviously in different ways. I didn't feel like I could trust my own gut instinct or myself to tell me it's time to get out of here. So I thought it was demonic. I didn't think I was hearing God. I was really back and forth to the point where I started literally feeling crazy because I was pigeonholing myself into this isn't right and get out. And then I don't know the truth. I can't trust myself. I need to trust Mark and Leslie. And so I definitely wanted to move with my dad, and Leslie sensed that several times, and she would shame us. She would tell us that we needed to cut the umbilical cord, we weren't sacrificing enough. She would tell us that we were going to fall out of the anointing of God, that we were going to get off this literally quote-unquote merry-go-round, and it's gaining momentum, and if you leave, you could miss out on what God's doing. And so it was a lot of intimidation. Okay, so anyway, the point of my story is I got to the point where I was suicidal, because I felt trapped and I wanted to get out. I finally got the guts to tell them, hey, I think I'm going to hurt myself, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to take all my medication. I had medication for headaches, tension headaches, because at that time it was horrible. I was having trauma responses, obviously, and then I was also taking antidepressants, and and antidepressants can have adverse effects in teens. So I was 17 at this time. I'd been with them for about 4 years. But instead, after I told them, hey, this is what's happening, I thank you for what you've done for me, but I think it's time to go, the first thing they said was, Leslie, do you really think this is God telling you this? This is demonic. And then they prayed over me, and of course, there was a little bit more conversation surrounding that. And I just remember being like, I'm never going to get out of here. I'm never going to get out of here. And they did not tell my parents. They did not get me help. They did not take away my medication. They did not ever ask me about it again. And 3 months later, I tried to off myself. And the day that I tried to off myself when I was literally sitting at a coffee shop before I went to my dad's, because this was not like I got to see my dad one day a week. Okay, so they made me move in. Then they only let me see my dad one day a week, because why is it fair for me to see my dad more often than any of the other kids who can only see their parents once a week? Because Mark and Leslie said so, right? Not because there's any reason to, because this wasn't court ordered. Okay, at this point they didn't have contracts. There was no 501c3. No, so depressed I had nowhere to go, and I didn't want to talk to my dad about it, so because I felt alone. And so I was at this coffee shop thinking about hurting myself. And who calls me but Leslie? She calls me and she gets on to me very harshly. Where are you? Well, you didn't tell us it was your day to go to your dad's. And I'm like, yeah, I did. I told Mark. Well, we're here laying sod. We're all here working, because we remodeled their whole fucking house over the course of the time. So after I got off that phone call, I went to a place where I thought I'd be alone, and I parked my car, and I took all my medications, and I tried to off myself. And the next morning, she also called me because I wasn't at Bible study, and she had a kid call me, and they were mad at me. I could have been seriously injured, but instead they were mad because I wasn't there. These people who hurt hundreds of kids, like almost everybody, who are you still in contact with? Who can you show that is still supporting you, Mark and Leslie? Because you have everybody blocked. I think your corner is getting smaller. Plenty of families reach out. I've had teachers reach out. I've had people who knew them just from school reach out. Literally everybody in town knew you were a cult, Mark and Leslie. It's time for you to be humble and wash some fucking feet. And the Ramp is very proud of Mark and Leslie. The Ramp took off comments that we put about Mark and Leslie that they post, like a thing they posted. They limited the comment. It's time for you to wash some feet, y'all. You gotta wash some feet. It's funny, because it's like they still think we're the vulnerable kids that we used to be, and we're just not. We're not. So thank you for following. Thank you for your support. Continue to share the word. We're gonna do it, y'all.